Hey, I am back. I'm Cadence Kidwell, proprietress here at Fuzzy Goat in downtown Thomasville, Georgia. And I'm just really glad to be in the shop and chatting with you guys. I was so looking forward to this Saturday morning. I'm back in the shop full time with my brand new hip, got a new ball and socket in there. And I was reflecting, nothing says old lady to others than knitting and hip surgery, right? That seems like right up there and how you would describe other people. But there's nothing old about all of us, right? Plus, we're making our brains stronger, so we're gonna be more mentally active, which our kids especially should be super grateful for. And our great team here of Melissa, Caroline, and Madelyn kept everything running so smoothly you probably didn't even know it isn't working right. Oh, here we are. Okay, we're back. I gathered up lots of different pajamas. That made it super fun, you know, in the day, each day when things a little creaky, didn't feel too good. I'm like, oh, which pajamas am I going to put on today? So highly recommend that. Plus, I got all my knitting all lined up. I have a couple suggestions as I go through the projects that I'll talk about. I went home with 5 projects, and of the 5, I actually finished 2. And the one I'm wearing now is Dust Bunny, and I finished this right before I went to clear my needles and get ready for the others. This is super fun. I made this out of the KnitWise Boucle at the end of our pop-up, and so I had asked Alicia if she would dye some more because this turned out so fun. It's really popular. Lots of people like to wear it. Kit helped out while I was gone, and she wore this, and she says she can't wait to have one herself. And so I did get away with 1 skein of boucle because there's 656 yards in it, lots of yarn. But I did play yarn chicken. What I did was I knit the body, and then I knit the collar before I picked up for the sleeves, and I weighed what I had left so I could be even on my sleeves. And I'm happy with where they turned out. They actually didn't come in around my wrist, or it's not my wrist, my forearm, as much as I wanted to, so I just kind of crocheted with not boucle yarn, some smooth yarn around on the front to just kind of cinch it in just a little bit and pull it in. But it's really fun, and I definitely have another one in mind. I'm thinking maybe you jump, I jump. Look how fun that is with that little bit of chartreuse in there. Or you could do one in goat. Look at this, this is so fun. This is 80% boucle merino and 20% nylon. I'm wearing Homosassa Sunset, which was the, Alicia dyed this for LYS Day 23, I think. And it was too beautiful to retire, so it's back and renamed as Homosassa Sunset. And then this one here is Sentimental Feeling, so pretty solid. And then this one here is In the Groove, which has much more variation in it. I guess these are both in the groove. Yeah, they're both in the groove. And I have the pattern link up at the KnitWise Boucle, and I'll have all that up for you guys to see soon. Hey, Arva and Elizabeth and Rhonda, thank you guys all for watching and being patient while I wasn't here. Okay, so the whips I had ready to go. I have taken a tip from Melissa. I do come and go in the shop every day with a bag, usually with my tablet that I take notes on and things that I need to do business-wise. But I decided I'm going to have another bag, right? Another bag, just for my knitting, which is so enjoyable because I could just have this next to my chair. We live in a very small house. Oh, hi, Madelyn. Thank you for all your well wishes. I can have this next to my chair, and it makes me happy. I've got my stitch stoppers on a leash here so that I could get to those if I needed extra. So I had lots of fun going in here. All right, so let me show you this one first. This one is in an O-Snap bag. This one, I've shown you this one before. This was not a new one. This is Scout. And I have to say, until this week, I did not work on it at all while I was gone. Because as you can see, there's a lot going on, which is what I love about it. I love that. But I definitely needed a clearer head, and so I wasn't able to do it while I was recovering. But this week, we have had technology stress that you wouldn't believe, you know, fix one thing, break five. And so for the last 2 nights in a row, I worked on this, and I just sat over there in my chair and worked on this very complicated pattern and didn't say a word for 4 hours. Mr. Fuzzy Goat would say, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'll get there. The knitting's going to get me there." So I am thoroughly enjoying this. Let me show you how it works. Yeah, I love my bag too. It's really makes me happy. And as you can see, there's one. I did not plan it this way, but I see that there's one right behind me over there. And it's the Boho Canvas Tote. So I'm working on the Scout Mini here, and I am using Emma's theme pack here. I'm using Happy Hour, and then I have a white speckle that I have in my stash that I'm adding to it. I thought I would plan, when I started this, I planned all the colors out ahead of time, what was going to go where, all of that. And then it didn't really work out that way. As I started going, I was like, I don't think I like those 2 colors. So really, each time it's time to change a pattern, I just kind of lay out all the different colors and choose them again. Now, I do realize that here there's not as much contrast, but that's okay. This pink and yellow makes me really happy. I'm now in the middle section of the scarf. My pattern went too far overboard. So I just have to do the middle part, and then, so it's like a triangle that goes this way and then this way. So I'm right here. So after I finish that, it's going to be all downhill from there. But each time I try a color and I get going, and I will show you where twice I tried a color and I didn't like it, and I didn't even rip back. It kind of reminds me of a quilt, so it makes me think of like an old faded quilt too that you might have had to repair. So you might see like right here, I tried this shade of green, and it just wasn't exciting, so I switched to this one, and I just left that there. And there'd be so much going on in here. I mean, who's going to notice that? It'll just remind me of my process. And the same thing here. I started with a lighter blue, and it didn't zing, so I went to that same blue that I had used there. And then last night, I started with a stripe, there's a stripe here, and I realized the blue was too dominant, so it was just 3 rows. I just went back and redid that. And Mr. Fuzzy Goat's been over in his chair. He likes to do Legos. He likes to do city Legos. For the 8 and under, those are the ones he really likes the best. Right, Mike? Under 8 Legos? Under 12. Under 12. Well, for Christmas, he got a set that was, I think, like 16 or something like that. And it's kind of hard, but at more pieces. And it was flummoxing him. And he was over there the other day, and he was like, I just don't think I can do this. I'm going to have to rip it all out and go again. Right? Sounds like knitting. And I was like, well, let's just assess for a second. You don't seem to really enjoy it, so are you going to want to do it again? And is it good enough? Like, it's not like a real building. Like, if you have an extra piece or you forgot to put it in, it's not going to fall. And it kind of looks like it's supposed to look now. And he's like, oh, I never thought of that. Now he's just cruising along with good enough and is just loving his Legos again. So, you know, knitting philosophy. See where I challenge you to see who else in your life you can apply that to as well. Okay, so that was one. The Scout I took with me. I didn't work on it again until last 2 nights. One I finished super fast is this Magnolia Chunky Cardigan here. And it has this really pretty, it's hard to see. I should have put her on a different colored mannequin. Has these little baubles in it. A nice big chunky lace pattern. And so my advice for this, Renee's going to have some surgery in a couple weeks, and I said, get your patterns past the really challenging part, because right in the beginning of your recovery, my brain was like, it was mush. I don't even remember it, but I got a sweater out of it. But before that, I did the short rows because I didn't think I'd be able to do that. And then once I got into that, it was really easy to do. And it's bulky. I use the Amelie right here. which I'm going to have to figure out. We've had very stressful emails this week from many of our vendors. Amelie comes from Canada, and so there's extra fees on that now. So we have to figure out all, several of our dyers. Sweet Georgia too. Whew. Anyway, back to the knitting. But look at these beautiful colors. So I use this one here, Cabernet. I haven't knit anything purple in the longest time, and I love it. I can't wait to wear it. It's still, it's hot here, so I wasn't even going to try to pretend this morning. But you could do it in a lovely ivory. I think there's a yellow over there and this orange, and this just feels like a cloud. This whole sweater feels like it weighs nothing. It's kind of like the boucle. And this, it is mostly silk, and then baby alpaca and merino, 56% silk. And it's like a tape. So I love using this. I have knit a Nola in it. Let's see if you can see the Nola back there. Yeah, with that sweater there with the orange flowers. So this is the second one in, just a matter of months in this yarn. Love it. So I came out of my not only with a new hip, but that new sweater, and then I also have a new vest, my Nordic Bloom vest. She's keeping me company right here, sitting in my chair, and I used alpaca wool for that. That's kind of our workhorse worsted yarn. It was a lot of fun. You do it bottom up, and eventually I'm going to steek it. But I haven't steeked it yet. That is really hard to say. I don't know why. Because I'm actually going to steek it when we are at our retreat, our fuzzy goat retreat. I'm going to steek it. Y'all are going to watch me do it there. So it's right there. So this is also an example of you could chicken out and nobody would care as long as you still wear it buttoned up. The pattern has all of this color work in one color. But I got inspired by Terry, who was considering doing her Miserina in two colors. So I did that with this. There was one part in the chart right here where this yellow was supposed to be the same color. It was all on that same row. So what I did when I got to there is I just slipped that stitch from the row below. And so that pulled it up into that. So I didn't have to carry that yellow the whole way, or I didn't lose the stem, and I'm really pleased with the way that turned out in there. And the alpaca wool really blooms nicely, and by the time I was recovering well, I was ready for the Kitchener stitch, which I have not done in probably over a decade. So I did that, and then last week I did the tubular bind off. So I learned two new things that I'd never done before. So that's the Nordic Bloom. Those are the two things that I actually finished. And we have buttons too. I love my buttons. So that was fun looking for the buttons. All right, let's look at what's in my bag now, but I'm still carrying around. All right, this one here. Oh, I love this one. This one here, I don't know how to say this. Sulalu, perhaps. Let me show you the picture. It's in this book. My friend Janet of String Theory, she knows I love color work, a color work sweater where the color work is down at the bottom, because then there's less, like the vest, because there's less weight up at the top where it's hot and or warm, if you want to be warm, but here we don't want to be as warm. So I love this sweater. Then it turns out it's only in the book. So I did order several of the books for the shop. Oh, also should say, Virginia, thank you for the compliment. The Nordic Bloom is also a sweater, so you could pick up the sleeves and make sleeves too. You don't have to make a vest. So this is the sweater here in this beautiful book here. So we do have copies of the book in the shop now. It's beautiful color work. And I, instead of using a Nordic yarn, which is, the book is all about Nordic patterns and all of that, I went the almost opposite direction, and I'm using 29 Bridges linen wool singles. So that is right here, and just, you can see why. I mean, look, these colors, so they're kind of tweedy. So it does have a tweedy feel to it. and just all these beautiful colors. It has an amazing hand. It's a single ply. I'm using this color here. What is this color? Cecily. Very tempted. I have not knit an orange in a minute here. This is Flaming June, but a blue would be lovely as well. Also this chartreuse. I have to tell you a story about chartreuse if I get to it here. Okay. So I'm using the wool singles, and then my color work is another yarn from 29 Bridges, Coral Reef, that is the go-to sock. So it's not the same fiber content. That was okay with me. But I will tell you one thing that you might want to avoid. It is fine with me, but it's not everybody's cup of tea. See, they look great like this together, but there is just enough orange in this that this color work is not as crisp as you might like. Thank you, Beth Ann, for welcoming me back. So it's not as crisp as some people might like. That is fine with me. I kind of like the organic feel to it, but sometimes the stitches get lost when there's an actual orange in there. So just adding that info in there. Now, I made a copy so I didn't have to carry the book around with me. And since the pages are not the same sizes as, I could blow this up. I don't know why I haven't done that yet, because we are doing that for another chart. But I would go to pick this up. I did the ribbing, actually worked in the ribbing while I was in the single day center, waiting. You got to do something to take your mind off of things. So I'm like doing the ribbing. I could do the ribbing. Mike took a picture of that and sent it to the kids and going, your mom's knitting right up until she can't. But then I tried to pick it up, a week later, and I just couldn't do it. Part of my challenge is my chart is the same colors, but the exact opposite. So it took a while for my brain to kick back in. You see what I'm saying? Like, my stitches need to be white where it's orange and vice versa. So that was a bit of a challenge. If anybody knows of a way to, like transpose that, I would love to know what that is. Thank you, Diane. And so for the first time ever, so highlighter tape all day long, all the time. Charts for this, charts for that. Never thought of doing anything. Scout, absolutely highlighter tape. This is the first time ever I've used highlighter tape at the top and the bottom, just to kind of get me, I mean, I may not need this one now, but for a few weeks there where I was a little addled, I probably wouldn't too. Yeah, see, Rita, it does kind of, talk about exercise in my brain. I'm working it. But I'm loving how that turns out. And then I'm thinking once I get into past the color work, it may not go as fast. So another one of my projects is, once I'm back in the stores, to get back on figuring out that knitting machine, because that would be the perfect place to do it, is in all that flat stuff. But this is the Sulalu pattern that I'm working on, that's in the knitted Cavella book by Lane. All right, the other one that I'm working on, I'm not sure I'm capable of doing something that isn't color work, this sweater aside. The other one I'm working on, Melissa is too, is Woodlands, and I'm not as far as Melissa. She's kind of urged me on a little bit, so that's really helped a lot. So we're doing this fun thing here, Woodlands, and we're both doing Mono's fingering. And I'm not as far in that. She says you just kind of have to power through. So sometimes I would just, like if we had our team meeting, I would bring this one, and that's the only thing, so that I could just power through. So I have gotten to the part where I've joined, you can't really see much now, but you do the back, you do a provisional and you do the back, and then you undo the provisional and you do the front and the front. I do that like it's a V-neck. It's not a V-neck. It will also be steeked. That will be Melissa's first steek, but not mine. And so now I am just going around and around until I get to the color work. And I'm using that beautiful chartreuse by Monos. It's got a great silk blend, and then I'm going to be, my little critters are going to be brown. And we are working on expanding the chart with our local printer because look at that. Like I can't knit off of that. So, I mean, because look how tiny those little squares are. So we got to make those little squares a little bigger. So that's my woodland. Seeing Melissa steps ahead of me is encouraging me to keep going. And if you are interested, look at this, Melissa put together a lovely basket of pheno, of woodland for me. You could do, this red is exquisite, which I think Melissa's using the red as for her critters. But you could do this pretty color here, ivory letter opener, and do the red at the bottom, or vice versa. Do the red and have the critters and the trees in there. That would be so pretty. And then, oh, I gotta show you my buttons though. Let me show you my buttons. That's what, I put the buttons in my little pocket here to encourage me to keep going when I get bored. Because I think these are the perfect buttons. They're supposed to be little, but I think these are the perfect buttons for a woodland, right? Don't they look like cut wood a little bit? That's fun. I can't wait. Yeah, the purple, the green, all of those. So I keep my buttons in my little package here inside my zipper so that when I get, you know, when I see those, I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm working on that, because I want to get to color work and the buttons. What else have I got in here? Oh, that's a bag that's waiting for the project. Okay, so those are my whips. Whips. Now, I want to show you about my whim, because now that I'm back in the store, I'm itching to get into this new yarn. And so the new yarn that we got in while I was out is Queen City yarn from Charlotte. And we just loved visiting in their booth, and we've had them a while ago, but we haven't had them in the store in quite some time. So we were really happy to have them back in the store. And so I started looking for sport. It's a non-superwash. So we now have in each base a non-superwash. So if you're looking for that, why does that matter? Less chemicals in processing your yarn, less processes. As you knit, what it will mean is superwash, if you block it, soak it, it's going to relax a lot, so things could be much bigger. Superwash non-superwash is not gonna do that. See, my brain's not quite doing all the connecting. But so I started off last week, and if you were in our lodge last week, you were with me planning this one here. I love this one. It's, you know how I feel about a V-neck. So this is Andrea Mowry's Come Back Again, and it's in sport. Super cute. We only got these yarns in, we have 20 colors, but we only got 4 skeins each. So there's not enough to do the whole sweater. But I made notes. You could do the pockets in different colors. You could do the ribbing in different colors, the button band, the ribbing here and here. And if you were really short, you could even do the sleeves in a different color. So I was really looking into that. And of course, buttons down the middle. I had a whole palette picked out. But you know, when I got here, it just wasn't quite as much fun. So I've now changed to looking at other sport patterns, and I came across this one here. So Melissa's super excited about it too. Here Comes the Sun. So there you go. Look at that. And or maybe the swan show. So if any of you have knit a swan show, let me know if you like wearing it. I think it would be fun, but I know you can't put a coat over it, but down here we don't put coats over things that much, so I'm really not sure. So I'm kind of thinking both, probably more towards the sweater. But look at that, isn't that cute? And it has those, I call them like the 70s daisies that I just have such nostalgia for. So what I got going on here is either this, I'm thinking this would be the body and these would be the flowers. Hold the pattern. Or, so green, or this muddy purple, for lack of a better word. I say that very affectionately. Let me take the green out. So, interested and your vote, whether you think it should be these, whoops, or the green. I love this pink, so I'm really attached to using this pink. This is the same, and I have some of this left over from my licorice twist vest. This is Monos Sammy. Yes, I don't mind mixing makes and fibers. They're all merino. This one is super wash. This one, the bulk of it will be non. But I just really love this acid green color. There is a really pretty neon yellow over there, but I wanted one that just went just a little bit more towards green. And then this is Malintosh Salt. And I just love the little bits of variation in there. So I like these three together, and I'm seeing lots of votes for green for Here Comes the Sun. So after the week, I was so excited to be back, and then to have it mostly taken up with IT stuff. Ugh. I needed, all I wanted to do was play in the sweater. Melissa was laughing at me because I would take that back to my desk while I was like on the chat with the IT person or on the phone. And I was like, I just have to be around the yarn. I just have to keep figuring it out. So look at that. Oh, yep. And then Eileen says that green's going to be a big color. It's funny because Carolina says, aren't you tired of knitting a green sweater? I'm like, oh no, green or orange. That's what I'm saying. After this, watch out. It's going to be orange. Although my linen singles, which went overboard, here it is. This one might be satisfying my orange right now. Yeah, that's pretty orange. Well, thank you for letting me ramble with you today and just really just show you what I've got going on in my bag and what came off my needles. And I'm super glad to be here and really grateful for all of you for being excited about the store and wishing me well, and just super grateful for our team that kept everything moving along. So thank you guys for your input. If you're watching later, I still want to know what you think because it's going to take me a couple days to sort all this out. I'm going to make sure we got the links up for all these great patterns so you can make yourself a dust bunny. I mean, this weighs nothing. It's like, I mean, even though it'll be 80 degrees outside, it won't be 80 in here. I'm going to be able to wear this inside all day long and be really comfortable. Thank you all. I'll put the links up so that you can check out some more and let us know if you have any questions about colors or anything. We love to do that.